right now seems like a great time to whip out a little orbital sander and try to get rid of the cancer on top of the car. Because if I don't do something about that soon, it's going to slowly dissolve. So I got this, a couple little spots there, and then of course all of that. And being that it's just rained and I'm more interested in not letting this thing rust all the way through, I'm going to go ahead and grind all this off and see what happens and hopefully get a rattle can out here and rattle can it. And now it's time for the check on angry stinging insects. Let's see, do we have angry sting? Yep, we do. Hey, is he in there? Hey, look at that little guy. I don't know if it'll focus. Yeah, we got a new stinging guy in here. Awesome. Got some good old wasp be gone. All right, after a good old splashing of wasp be gone. There's angry stinging insect with nest. Another random nest that was trying to form. Another one. Angry stinging insect back there. Angry stinging insect down here. This should hold them off for a couple days. Maybe. Probably not, but we'll see. So I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up, but over here, this is pretty light. But as you get further and further down, this is starting to get kind of thicker. Then down here, this is starting to get kind of deep. But it hasn't broken through yet, so I've got to make this stop pretty quick or I'll be resealing holes in the roof. And then here's a little bit better view of the other. So if I can get this stuff sanded down, rattle can it, that will stop the rust from going all the way through. And then at some point, I'm going to have to rattle can all that stuff. Alright, so I'm hitting this side a little bit with some 80 grit just to burn through the top of this. You see, you can already start seeing the metal coming back through. And then I'm gonna have to go over there and work on that. You see how much darker that is over there versus this, where it's a lot lighter. So let me burn off the rest of this rust, and then might be able to rattle can this thing real quick. So just real quick, you see I've already started burning on that side, burned a lot of it off on this side. I'm not a painter by any means. My goal here is to stop the rust. I mean, that's really it. You know, this ain't gonna be perfect, and this car definitely isn't perfect. So again, the idea is stop the rust. So any of you professional painters out there that are looking at this and cringing, at some point this thing will probably get a proper paint job with proper setup and all that good stuff. But all right, so here's what I'm working with. Kind of hard to tell, but you can see this stuff is kind of pitted. And then over here, went over it once already. If I can zoom in on that over there, I don't know if you can see kind of in the middle where that used to be a 9, the metal's starting to get pretty pitted right there. So it's a good thing I came out here and started sanding this down. I might have to get a little bit deeper to really make sure the rust is going away. But yeah, this is one of those things, if I kept ignoring it, it would end up chewing its way through the top of the car. And I noticed a couple other rusty spots on the trunk lid. So back here, this is a lot easier to deal with. You can see where the rust was, got down to bare metal pretty quickly. But the catch is that when you let it go too far, then it gets a little bit harder to work with. But this is getting there. I can rattle can this, make this at least reasonable to stop the rust. I mean, at least on the trunk, if this were to rust through, there's a lot of trunk panels available and you just switch this out. But the problem with the roof is you can't really switch out a roof. Then you have to start doing stuff to it like Bondo, and I don't want to do all that. So after a bunch of sanding, this is where we're at. I've pretty much got all the rust out of there. There's a little bit of discoloration, but this is just going to have to work for now because I can't keep messing with it forever. And then back here on the trunk, burned through a bunch of random rusty spots that were starting to happen. And the more I kind of mess with it, the more stuff I find. So we're going to see if we can get through the, you know, just at least getting a little bit of paint, even if it's a really crappy touch-up job, you know, on the bare metal here. and then finish messing with the roof. All right, so I'm gonna use some Rust-Oleum Rattle can. This is paint and primer in one. This is definitely not gonna match. I don't care. Remember, the end goal here, stop rust. That's it. This is not a professional paint job by any means. This is stop rust so that we can figure out the rest of the car so that the car doesn't actually, you know, cave in on itself. Here we go. Here goes nothing. All right, this is just after a little bit of rattle can on the trunk lid. This is just enough to make the bare metal go away. Had to get this piece of cardboard here. Fun fact, this is actually a piece of a Crown Vic Auto mystery box. Alright, so here we go. Like I said, I did not mess with the hood, so the hood is still the same, but what you have is rattle can beauty on top. If you were to look at this in person, up close, it looks bad. But, again, as I mentioned probably a million times, the goal is to stop rust. So this should be enough to stop rust for a while, and then at some point in time, when this car is ready, it can get properly prepped, properly sanded down, and actually painted correctly. But as you can see, all the beginnings of car cancer has gone away. Right here, I didn't prep this very well. I just saw it and sprayed it because I thought I sanded it, but clearly I didn't. But you'll find that when you rattle can stuff, when it hasn't been prepped real well. Like you can see right here, a couple wings standing up. But again, at the end of the day, the idea here is to get enough paint on this car to keep the rust from happening. So if I can do that, that's one battle down out of who knows how many on this vehicle. All right, well, I hope you guys got a kick out of this. Florida man working on a Florida Vic. Not perfect, not a quality paint job by any stretch of the imagination, but it's enough to stop rust, at least for a little while, until it too flakes off. All right, love to each and every one of you. Hope to catch you on the next video. All right, so real quick, want to give you guys an update. So it's been about a week since I did all the painting, and one thing I've noticed, I don't know if you can look real close, there is a little bit of rust shining through, so I might actually have to redo this and maybe use some sort of rust inhibitor kind of thing. And you see back here, I didn't get real good with the paint because the paint can itself was kind of running out. So I just kind of rattle canned it real quick. The problem is it definitely rained a bunch this week. I mean, a bunch. So in these areas where the rust wasn't real bad, you can't really tell where I painted, you know, minus these kind of ugly spots. But like, let's see, kind of in this area, I don't know if it's coming through on the camera, but there's some like little bit of rust coming through. So I think I'm gonna have to go back, do a little bit more sanding in the areas that are showing some rust, maybe get some sort of rust inhibitor or some kind of treatment type spray. So I know they make stuff like that, I just never really looked into it. And maybe spray that down first to stop it from rusting more, because there's probably a little bit of water in that rattle can that I had, because I think that's an old rattle can. I'm not really sure how old it is. Might be 5 years old by now, who knows. So maybe the paint's separating and making it rust a little bit. You know, with the water actually making contact with the actual metal. But I don't know, I'm just kind of seeing what the result is. Like I said, obviously I'm gonna have to go back through and, you know, do some touch-up stuff, but you know, if I want to stop the rust. So just wanted to give you guys that quick update and let you know that, yeah, I mean, it worked, but not as well as I was kind of hoping, because paint can was old, didn't prep it super well, and it rained pretty much all week. A lot. Immediately after I painted all this, I'm talking like within a few hours, it started raining. So that probably didn't help either. I mean, even in some of these kind of thin spots, some of it did okay, I guess, but obviously that still needs to be rattle canned a little bit better. But we'll see. This is the great thing about Florida. You leave anything anywhere long enough, nature will try to take it back. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I don't even think I've ever seen these little things growing in my yard before. I guess they like the Crown Vic. I'm just a Florida man with a rattle can. Florida man with a rattle can. Florida man, rattle can, rattle can.
never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life.